And a very happy Woo Wednesday to you at 12:08 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
John, it's May Revise Day, the day that Gavin Newsom announces the adjusted figures for California's budget, and we have a $11 billion deficit. But don't you worry, he's very mindful about it.
We are moving forward with making decisions that not only address the concerns this year related to the $11.9 billion, but mindful that we need to tighten things up.
Him being mindful is what got us into this mess.
That is something we are mindful of.
And here's something to be mindful about. The first question he got was from Ashley Zavala about how Gavin's first budget when he was governor in 2019 was about $200 billion. The budget 7 years later is $350 billion.
Gavin likes to spend.
Gavin likes to make it rain.
I guess that's how we define mindful. We'll have more on that later on in the program. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we all knew this day was coming, but today is the day that we learn that California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara has approved a request from State Farm to jack your insurance premiums up into the stratosphere.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
It's going to go up 17% for homeowners. Rental insurance is going to go up around the same. But if you own rental property and you're a landlord, your rates are going up 38%, which means rents are going to go up massively.
And I'm sure from his point of view, that's equity.
Absolutely.
For more on Ricardo Lara giving everything State Farm wants and more, here is the incredible Stephanie Sierra at ABC7 in the Bay Area.
A big blow for homeowners today. The state's insurance commissioner gave State Farm the green light to raise property insurance rates as high as 38%.
Big jump, and this rate hike will go into effect in a couple of weeks, June 1st. 7 on your side, Steph.
And by the way, when I was on vacation in the hot tub, I met this woman who is a claims adjuster. She said, and she lives out of state. She does not live in the state of California, but she's trying to get her license here so she can work in Altadena and Pacific Palisades and Malibu on those situations. She said, first of all, it's virtually impossible to get a license in California, where they ask you all kinds of questions about your background, including things like traffic tickets from a long time ago. And they asked her if she was a lesbian on the form, too. I don't know why that was relevant to anything related to claims or the insurance industry, but they asked her if she was a lesbian.
Does that help you cut the line?
I guess. I don't know. Who's doing the vetting? Howard Stern?
And how is that defined? What if you just did it once in college?
I don't know. Maybe there's a box on the form that you can check. But anyway, she said in her experience with filing claims, and she used to work for the insurance companies, and now she works on the other side of the table. She said the company that is the absolute hardest to deal with every single time is State Farm. She said whenever you file a claim with State Farm, they fight you tooth and nail on everything. For what it's worth, she said Travelers was the easiest to work with.
Well, and we've seen that with State Farm stonewalling victims of the Eaton fire and the Palisades fire, not the ones that their houses burned down, but ones that have so much smoke damage that their homes are unlivable, and State Farm is not paying out those claims.
Hey, Randy, ask me which company I do business with.
John, which company do you do business with?
But State Farm, of course.
First, 7 on your side, Stephanie Sierra is here tonight tracking the very latest on what will be a blow for some people.
Oh, certainly, Dan. And, you know, this process is far from over. In fact, this ruling comes 5 weeks after State Farm's...
Wait, how long was it?
Cecily, can you help us?
This ruling comes 5 weeks after...
Thanks for the assist.
She's like John Stockton with those assists.
This ruling comes 5 weeks after State Farm's hearing in Oakland, where it was discovered.
You mean the one that Ricardo Lara didn't show up to that was pretty much a formality because he already gave approval?
Yeah, what was the point of that? He said he's going to give him the approval, but we need to go through the hearing. They have the hearing. He doesn't bother showing up, and then he gives him the approval.
And at the hearing, State Farm did not provide the actuarial data that shows why they need this hike.
No, but they got close enough.
The company's actuary admitted they did not do the formal calculations required by law to substantiate these rate hikes.
Doesn't matter. How many fancy dinners did State Farm take Ricardo Lara to?
You know, these people sound like buffoons on an HOA board. Do you have a reason as to why you're raising the HOA dues? Nah, we ballparked it.
Well, you don't have to jump all through those hoops if your top regulator is checked out because he's got to go see DJ Kitty Glitter.
Oh, yes, but he learned a lot about the insurance industry at that rave.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
What did he learn about the insurance industry at that retreat in Bogota?
Well, maybe he needed a copay.
Yet the judge who works under Commissioner Ricardo Lara still signed off on it. Here's what to expect. Starting next month, millions of Californians will see a sharp rise in their home insurance premiums as the country's largest insurer, State Farm, got approval to raise rates by 17% for homeowners, 15% for condo and renters, and up to 38% for rental dwellings.
That is massive.
And this is on the heels of them getting a rate increase not that long ago.
Last March.
It's a huge disappointment for consumers that the judge has suggested consumers should pay now, but allow State Farm to wait months before proving up their rate hike. That's what we're seeing with this decision today.
State law requires insurance companies to justify increases before they take effect. But
not with Ricardo Lara in charge.
Oh, no. He runs shop in a different way.
But that didn't happen under Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
We sleep at night thinking how we're going to make this.
After paying State Farm for 30 years, Marianne Directo says the company recently denied her only claim.
I want to get out of State Farm completely. I don't trust them anymore.
This will be State Farm's second rate hike since March last year, forcing Directo to sell her family heirlooms.
I had some gold jewelry that was passed down from my mother to me.
She's got to sell jewelry to pay her insurance premiums?
And by the way, part of the job of the California Department of Insurance is to hold the insurance companies to the letter of the contract. If they're not following the contract and they're not paying out when they're supposed to, the California Department of Insurance is supposed to come down on them like a ton of bricks.
Well, that's how the job is supposed to work. But we twice elected someone who's unqualified, that only cares about his own political advancement.
No, I'm telling you, this woman in the hot tub, she told me, if you have State Farm, it's almost like not having a policy.
Which meant a lot to me and breaks my heart. I had to sell to make those payments.
Joy Chen is a former deputy mayor of Los Angeles, now leading the Eaton Fire Survivors Network. The group sent a letter asking the commissioner to investigate State Farm, including nearly 400 personal messages from survivors, raising alarm about the company's practices.
You mean how they're denying claims left and right, even in this massive disaster?
How could you not help this woman out if State Farm isn't paying her anything when the fire destroyed her house?
Well,
she's selling her family heirloom. She's one step away from selling her body on the street.
But what does that matter when you're on a beach in Bermuda?
And Europe, and Hawaii, and South America, and a whole bunch of other places.
Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara is a national leader. He's a global leader.
We learn more and more about that every day.
In spite of all this evidence, all these accounts of State Farm failing to fulfill its obligations, he's gone ahead to reward them instead of investigating them.
There's a lot of questions being asked about how State Farm is handling these claims in these fire zones. And Ricardo Lara didn't care about any of that. He decided to go ahead and give them a massive rate increase that affects the entire state of California.
And when people call the Department of Insurance and say, State Farm is not paying us what they owe us. He doesn't have time to get involved with that. He doesn't have time to go on the radio or go on television and answer questions from ratepayers and homeowners. He does have time to give State Farm the ability to increase your rates. He does have time to go on every junket on the planet, but he doesn't have time to do his actual job.
Well, he is a global leader.
Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara is a national leader. He's a global leader.
That guy makes like $250K to say that crap.
And I'm sure from Ricardo's point of view, it's worth every penny.
So we are disappointed. This is the guy that we elected.
Well, that's on us.
Yeah.
Especially the second time.
How'd you vote, lady?
Meanwhile, State Farm says it's paid out more than $3.4 billion to customers in the wake of the LA fires.
Now, here's the fuzzy math that I don't understand. State Farm claims that they've had to pay out 12,000 claims in the destruction fires of the Altadena area and the Palisades area. They have 7.8 million policies, and they don't have money in the bank to pay for 12,000 claims?
I would really like to know what they do with the premium money.
Well, Jake from State Farm gets a cut.
I wonder if his cut is bigger than Flo.
You've got all the stadiums, you've got all the advertising, and then, of course, you have all of the fancy dinners that they take Ricardo Lara to, and all the junkets they put on for him and all the other insurance commissioners in this country.
It can't be something that's just limited to him. I bet you the other insurance commissioners aren't as gross as him, but this is going on in all 50 states, let's be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, State Farm says it's paid out more than $3.4 billion to customers in the wake of the LA fires. The company applauding the decision, saying today's emergency interim rate approval by the commissioner is a critical first step for State Farm General's ability to continue serving our California customers.
You're not serving them. You're dropping them left and right, and the people that did have policies, you're not fulfilling your contract.
You know what? I was really afraid of State Farm moving out of state and saying they're not going to do business here because that's the company that I have my policy through, and I know they're trying to drop people right and left. After seeing what I've seen regarding their behavior after these fires, I'm to the point where I almost don't even care if they stay here or they leave. Because if they don't pay out on the claims and they don't give you what you're owed, what's the point of having them here?
Insurance is a theoretical concept in California, so at this point, Johnny, you're better off with Adriana.
Probably.
As for the rest of us,
this could set a very dangerous precedent if it stands for other insurance companies.
Yes, because why is State Farm so special? If they get their emergency rate hike that takes effect in less than a month, then why isn't Farmers going to do the same thing and all the other insurance companies? Because Ricardo Lara is going to give them the pass and the green light to do whatever they want.
From what I understand, State Farm is one of the bigger insurance companies in the state of California.
It's the biggest, by far.
Yeah, so it's like what Carnival is to the cruise ship industry. So if they get the rate increase, it's not as if you're just giving it to one company. You're giving it to the biggest fish in the pond.
Because if State Farm can get a rate hike before justifying it, what's to stop the rest of the insurance industry from seeking the same concessions?
I think that's what we're going to see. There you go. Ricardo Lara, through his nonsensical kabuki theater, gave the final approval for the thing he already approved 2 months ago for State Farm to jack up your rates while they are screwing over homeowners left and right in the fire zones.
He is termed out of office as insurance commissioner. He can't run for another 4-year term. And so far, he has not announced that he's going to be a candidate for any other office. Maybe this means he's retiring from politics and he's going to do something else. I don't know. But if so, that surprises the hell out of me. Because this is a guy who is not employable in the private sector. He has been in politics virtually his entire adult life, and this is the pinnacle of his career. What's next for someone who sold us all out?
Well, I'm sure there's some advisory boards or some boards of directors on some of these nonsensical insurance agencies that he can join. or become a lobbyist for the insurance industry.
But here's the difference, though. He doesn't know anything about the industry. So if you're looking to hire someone knowledgeable, he's not your man.
Well, he's also outlived his usefulness from people like State Farm. He's useless to them when he has no power.
Yeah, he has nothing left to sell. They've gotten all the juice out of the squeeze. What motivation do you have to hire him if you're the insurance industry? Because at this point, he's nothing but problems. If there is a legislature that's interested in looking into what happened with this insurance crisis, and at some point, some of these districts that involve these people who are being screwed over by their companies, they're going to have members in the legislature who want to ask questions. And you know when they start asking questions, whose door they're going to be knocking on. If you're State Farm, do you want to have this man on your board of directors?
You really don't.
It's just negative attention that you don't want and you don't need. He can't do anything for you anymore. You think the next insurance commissioner is going to want to do him any favors? I'll tell you, whatever it was, and we know a lot of what he got in return for doing what he did, I hope he's happy with it because this is the last stop on the subway for him.
I'm very kind of sketchy.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you missed yesterday's episode where we talked about politicians and their potty mouths, you can go back and listen to it on the podcast.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show, hit subscribe, and download all the episodes where we have to bleep politicians for saying things they said on their podcasts.
And that's a up system.
Is Santa Monica going to become the new Las Vegas Strip? Well, Randy, it looks like it could.
Well, they already have the tunnel people, except they're not in tunnels. They're on the 3rd Street Promenade.
I wonder what Mr. Furley would have thought about all that.
Santa Monica City Council voted yesterday to approve a new policy where the 3rd Street Promenade will allow open container drinking outdoors from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day.
I'll tell you, between this and then moving last call from 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., of all of the problems that we have in this state, there are some people in elected office who wake up in the morning, they throw on their bathrobe, they put their slippers on, they open up the front door, they walk down the driveway, they pick up the newspaper, they take a deep breath, they look around them, and they say, you know what this state needs? More booze.
For more, here's KTLA.
And the Santa Monica City Council passing a motion that would boost business along a popular tourist area.
You mean a tourist area that used to be popular? They got taken over by the homeless thanks to the Expo line going to Santa Monica and, of course, Barbara Ferrer's needle exchange program.
Yeah.
Oh, she's made some serious contributions to the condition of Santa Monica.
You think back 15 years ago, the 3rd Street Promenade was like the it place in all of Los Angeles County. Nobody talks about it anymore unless it makes the news because a homeless person beat up a 6-year-old getting ice cream.
And you know what's funny? If you think about the condition of Santa Monica and you look around and all you see are zombies wandering around and you think, my God, did the Grim Reaper visit this town? The answer is yes, and the Grim Reaper looks exactly like Barbara Ferrer.
No, thank you.
It's no surprise that Santa Monica was snubbed and cut out of any Olympic events in 2028 because Santa Monica is not safe.
Oh, could you imagine how bad we would look if all the athletes come over for the Olympics and one of those transgendered kickboxers gets mugged and that ends up making the papers?
It will allow public drinking along the 3rd Street Promenade. KTLA's Carlos Herrera is live in Santa Monica with the details. Carlos, good morning.
I don't know why we necessarily needed to do this. It's not like we enforce all of the public meth smoking that happens on the 3rd Street Promenade.
No, if you could do meth in public, what's a hurricane?
Eric and Megan, good morning. This meeting went into the late night hours with the city council essentially adopting this ordinance that will designate the 3rd Street Promenade into an open container area, which means that drinking alcohol outside on sidewalks and streets will be allowed. The city council saying that this will help revitalize this area.
It'll be so much fun to chug your beer in a plastic cup, because it needs to be plastic, while you look at all the for lease signs and all the empty storefronts at the 3rd Street Promenade.
You know, I was at the gym last night doing my workout, and I thought to myself, you know what this workout is missing? Spirits.
I used to do that when I was 18. It was a terrible idea.
On the treadmill, drinking a martini.
My buddy and I used to get a bunch of booze from a local liquor store that would sell to us, and then we would get loaded in the car outside the gym and go work out in the gym wasted.
But you weren't drinking while you were working out.
I was not drinking while I was working out, but I pounded a 40 of Old English 800 and then went to go work out.
Well, just think, if you go for a nice brisk walk on the streets of Santa Monica, you can do it with one of those helmets that has a cup on the right side, a cup on the left side, and big twirly straws.
Is the idea here to encourage someone like Fat Tuesdays to come to Santa Monica, where people can walk around with those 6-foot-tall daiquiris?
Why not?
I got one of those in Vegas once, and you have to wear a lanyard around your neck. It's so heavy.
I got one at one point, too, and I think it was near the Paris, where they serve it, and it looks like an Eiffel Tower, and it's about as big as me, and I'm 6'4". And the woman handed it to me, and I was indignant about it. I said, no, no, no. What do you think you're doing? I didn't order this. I said I want the big one.
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Zwick?
Aye.
Councilmember Hall?
Yes.
Councilmember Raskin?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Terosas?
Aye.
Councilmember Snell?
Yes.
And it passed.
Well, it's now official after months in the making. The Santa Monica City Council approving a motion that designates the area between Wilshire and Broadway an entertainment zone, allowing open.
What entertainment is there?
Well, you can watch people doing math.
I guess that's some kind of entertainment. Sometimes they fight each other.
It's not my speed, but I guess you could pass the time by watching it.
An entertainment zone, allowing open containers between 8 a.m. and 2 a.m. every day.
What's with the 8 a.m.?
If you start drinking at 8 a.m. in the morning, you probably should go to a meeting.
Who exactly are they trying to attract? Maybe this is for next year when the World Cup comes. They want all those people to start getting loaded at 5 a.m.
I live right next to the Betty Ford Center, and I don't even see those people, the ones that break out, waiting in line outside the bars at 8 a.m. Maybe 9 or 10, but not 8.
We're going to start having those specials at some of the local bars where they give you a shot of whiskey and a beer, and then you drop a raw egg into the beer, so that's your breakfast.
Oh, that sounds like a well-balanced one, too.
And 2 a.m. every day. Officials say the move helps the city recover from all the economic challenges stemming from recent wildfires and the COVID-19.
Okay, no. Santa Monica's problems have nothing to do with the fires, and you cannot blame any of this on COVID.
Those are the two go-tos, though. Everything is COVID's fault. Everything is the fire's fault.
It was COVID that gave Barbara Ferrer the idea to pay nonprofits county money and state money and some federal money to pass out meth pipes in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Helps the city recover from all the economic challenges stemming from recent wildfires and the COVID-19 pandemic.
You could honestly do a study to not just to show what Barbara Ferrer did to Santa Monica, but show the deterioration of what was one of the nicest, annoying, but nicest cities in LA County based on the fact that they expanded Metro there.
Oh, Metro ruined cities. You want to know how to wreck your town almost instantly? Allow Metro to go there.
It used to be very difficult for the homeless to get to Santa Monica because Santa Monica's a pain in the ass to get to. But then we created the Expo line, which is a direct pipeline from Skid Row to Santa Monica. And what happened to the 3rd Street Promenade? It became the West Side Skid Row.
Well, as soon as they connected Whittier through Metro, they wrecked that hospital there.
When they put it through Azusa, the Target started getting robbed left and right.
And then they wonder why people fight the metro tooth and nail.
Beverly Hills, it's coming to you next.
Lucian Tudor is the CEO of Global Dining Inc. of California, which operates several restaurants and bars here in Santa Monica. He's all in favor of allowing people to drink while walking on the promenade.
The numbers we're making today, I don't think we can be around for much longer. It's tough to run a business. I think this is the...
Yes, more booze is definitely the answer.
Well, come on. It's not like he doesn't have a dog in this fight. He owns a bar. If you left it up to him, he'd let you drink while driving home, too.
I think this is the solution. Thinking out of the box and innovating is the solution.
He sounds like that guy that's trying to impeach Trump.
Tudor and many organizations such as Downtown Santa Monica Inc. are in favor of the change, citing financial concerns. They say the move would bring more businesses to an area that's seeing many businesses leave.
Yes, but they're leaving because of crime, and this does nothing to solve the crime problems in Santa Monica, whether it's the homeless getting into fights or the lady who has to deal with people stealing jackets.
Give me back my jacket!
At this point, you're just purposely misinterpreting everything going on around you. If you look at all the problems facing Santa Monica and you think the biggest problem is a lack of availability of alcohol.
But others say it'll do more bad than good, attracting the wrong crowd here and just adding to the long list of issues in the city.
There's enough problems with homeless and crime and everything else. You don't need to add drinking outside, just walking around.
Is this supposed to encourage families to bring their kids to the 3rd Street Promenade so daddy can get loaded?
Well, you know, in Italy, they give the kids wine.
Santa Monica Mayor Lana Negrete says other cities in California have adopted similar ordinances and haven't had many issues. She says there would be strict rules for the 3rd Street Promenade entertainment zone. First would be requiring people to be 21 and over and wear an official wristband to enjoy.
It's already law that people have to be over 21.
Yeah, that's not new.
Wear an official wristband to enjoy alcoholic drinks to go. Only alcoholic drinks purchased from participating businesses are going to be allowed.
You can't bring in your 40 in a paper bag.
It's going to look so classy.
But, of course, they're not going to really be able to enforce any of this, so do whatever you want. Again, they don't enforce the people openly doing meth on the promenade.
Alcohol taken to go must be in a non-glass, non-metal container. Finishing your drink before exploring another bar, restaurant, or shop is also a requirement.
Wait, you can't walk into the bookstore with your red Solo cup full of beer?
Oh, you know they're going to, and they're going to spill it, too.
And enjoying the alcoholic beverages within the entertainment zone boundaries. People would also have to be keeping their drinks out of stores. Only window shopping, they say, will be...
So people will be vomiting outside of the bookstore, not inside the bookstore.
Well, it's not just vomit that you have to worry about because you see, Randy, you don't really buy the beer, you just rent it.
Will be allowed. Now, officials also say that ordinance would take immediate effect as long as local authorities have the proper signage and proper safety training for businesses in place. They have previously announced that they would plan on having a launch of this entertainment zone during Pride Month events happening in June.
Gee, I wonder if Ricardo Lara is going to show up.
Will DJ Kitty Glitter be there?
Maybe. Now, of course, one person who's way against this is John Alley, founder of the Santa Monica Coalition. This is what he told NBC4.
We don't think it's going to bring back the 86% of residents who don't feel safe coming back to the promenade to dine or shop. They are going elsewhere now. South Bay, Culver City, or Century City. To encourage bars to come to offer these people or anybody drinks, I think will bring the wrong crowd and will add the wrong atmosphere.
There you go.
Well, I guess we're going to have to push this car off a cliff to see what'll happen. Let's go to Klaus in Thousand Oaks. Klaus, hello.
Hey, John. Hey, Randy. So this is one of my biggest pet peeves living in Southern California in particular. I would say in the last 10 years, there has been an increase in alcohol availability in places that weren't so accessible in the past or made available. They sell alcohol at the Los Angeles Zoo. They sell alcohol at the Aquarium of the Pacific. They obviously sell alcohol at the major sports stadiums, but particularly with the zoo and the aquarium. Why the hell are we selling? Why is it available? Why is alcohol available at these places? It is because the previous historical demographic of people who came to the zoos, came to the aquariums and other establishments like that are gone. They have moved out of state, or they don't want to come because it's too expensive, or the places have been run down. So how do they get customers in? They sell alcohol in hopes of bringing in the majority demographic in Los Angeles County. And it's obscene. I cringe every time I go to the LA Zoo, or the past I've gone to the aquarium, and there's Modelo Micheladas everywhere. These people cannot enjoy nature, the animals, a museum, a botanical garden without alcohol in their hands. It's disgusting. This is exactly what's happening with Santa Monica. These people, they need to bring in these people to generate money, because the previous historical customers of that area don't want to show up, or they're completely gone.
All right. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Oh, just to think. You go to see the donkeys that have their asses turned away from you while you're chugging a white can of Modelo Michelada at the zoo. What a fun Saturday.
Well, if you get drunk at the zoo, that's when people decide to climb into the cage and see the tigers up close.
I did go to a beer tasting event once at the zoo, but it was after hours and you couldn't see any of the animals, and I was kind of wondering what I was doing there.
You were drinking.
I was doing that.
Let's go to Patrick in Rancho Palos Verdes. Patrick, welcome.
Hey, Randy. Hey, John. How you doing?
Good.
So I think it's a good idea. I mean, the people that have been up all night smoking meth need to get smoothed out so they can have a couple shots to smooth them out. And the people that are rolling out of the bars at 2 a.m, blotto, they can smoke a couple hits of meth so they can wake up and get home. You know, it's the best of both worlds. They can keep the party going all day and all night long to their little heart's content. And, you know, it's good for the neighborhood, obviously.
What could go wrong?
I can't see anything. All I can see is, you know, medication to help each other. You know, you're spun out and you're crazy, drink something. You're drunk as a skunk, smoke something. Problem solved. What a beautiful world.
It's a Santa Monica roller coaster of uppers and downers all night long.
Exactly.
Well, I alluded to it earlier, but when you drink beer in particular, it's a diuretic. You have to go to the bathroom all the time. You know this if you've been to a Dodger game before and seen the lines in the restroom. Because the homeless have taken over, one of the byproducts of that is that it's very difficult to find an accessible public restroom, because if you have them, the homeless just destroy it. So if you have a bunch of people out in public drinking beer and no restrooms for them to use, guess where they're going to go?
I think you figured it out.
Yeah. More good news for Santa Monica. Forecast says...
No, you can't say that. Now I got to text Lewis.